What's up, guys? Just making a late night run to the store. So one thing I was just thinking about is the biggest struggle that I think all men have is lust. I mean, women as well, but women are a little pickier, so they don't, it's not like every 7 out of 10 dudes they see they're lusting after, or they want to have sex with them, or they're highly attracted to them. Women are much pickier. It might be 1 out of every 20 guys that really does it for them, that they want to approach them, or someone that they'd want to, fornicate with or whatever. But for men, we're much simpler creatures. Our threshold of attractiveness for the sake of getting vagina is way, way lower than a female is when it comes to guys. One thing I was thinking about is, it's almost like, regardless of whether you're single or you're married, or whether you're with a woman who's highly attractive or a woman who's ugly, fat, skinny, whatever your type is or isn't your type, the lust for these women will never go away. And what makes it hard is the fact that if you're a knowledgeable guy who has a lot of experience with women, or any amount of experience with women, generally speaking, they play a lot of games and they're all over the place. They're never consistent, and most of them don't stick to their word. It's also always based upon their feelings. And I always used to talk to, my friends some years ago, and we talked about how if you took the traits, the personality and character traits and the wishy-washiness of a woman and put it into a man, as a man, you wouldn't even want to be friends with a guy like that. You'd be thinking like, oh man, he never sticks to his word, and he says he's gonna do something and then he changes his mind later because he's in his feelings. Like, you wouldn't even want to deal with a guy like that. But we deal with females because they're so physically attractive. They have soft voices. The vagina obviously feels good, and the other sexual things you could do with them, and then of course procreation if you're wanting a family. And I was thinking too, it's like, it's nuts because the angels from heaven, who are perfect creatures but have their own free will, obviously, but perfect creatures that get to be in the presence of the Most High God 24/7, not even 24/7, because time is something that was created for human beings, but just for all eternity. And in Genesis, it says, when in those days the sons of men, or whatever, basically people started having children and daughters and sons, and it says the daughters of the men were so beautiful that they forsook their perfect place in their regular, in their heavenly angelic location and their heavenly angelic bodies, to look like human beings, to be able to have sex with these beautiful, gorgeous creatures with nice bodies. Think about that. And not only that, as I mentioned in previous videos, how Adam was the first simp, basically. Like, he gave up his power to his wife and then doomed all of humanity, basically. He could have easily told her no, but I'm just speculating. She's probably so beautiful, and he had at that point had sex with her already. And for all we know, since she ate the fruit first, she could have, become extra sexual and seductive and put it on him. You know what I mean when I say that? For him to eat the fruit. Who knows? I don't know. But all I know is that he didn't tell her no. He didn't stop her. And then all of humanity's doomed. Lust is a thing that most people do not talk about, especially pastors. There's a reason why that no matter how, how knowledgeable a pastor is or how on fire for God he seems, it's just a matter of time before, 2 out of 5 pastors, I'd estimate, there's some sort of sex scandal at some point, whether it's him molesting a child in the church, him sleeping with a married woman, or cheating on his wife, or him being into pornography secretly. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. It's like, that's a thorn in every man's side. It's absolutely nuts. And it's like torture. Let's just keep it real. Like I said, it doesn't matter if you're single or married, if your wife is giving you sex or she's not. It's just the fact that lust will never go away. You could have just had sex with your wife, and then you go into a store, or you go anywhere, or you drive by, drive down the street, and then you drive past a gas station, and you automatically, your spidey senses tingle, and you look over, and there's not even all that woman, just even a 4 out of a 10, and you're just like, oh, look at the body, or look at that, or oh, that would be nice to conquer, or whatever it is. It's nuts, dudes. That's one of the most torturous things about still being in this fleshly body, is that you have to try to do your best to think spiritually. Think of things above, like the Bible says. But we're in this wretched flesh that we can't rip off until we die. Then we'll be in heaven. Then we'll be in glory. And we'll be in our heavenly bodies. But until then, and like I said, they look so good, but yet they're so chaotic, and they play so many games, and they're up and down with their emotions. To where, and I believe, this is my honest opinion, I believe that God made our lust as men for women so strong that he knew, like, okay, these women are a certain way. They're complete opposite of how men think. They're chaotic. They're annoying at times. But your horniness as a man overrides your logical thinking. That's why they say you're thinking with the little head instead of the big head. Logical thinking, like, you know what? I'm willing to get married to this woman in these days and times where you can be screwed over in divorce court and family court if she decides to pull the plug for whatever reason. And we still go through with it. The horniness ain't no joke. Before I got married, I was just running through them, which is wrong. That's why I'm so thankful to God that I didn't get HIV or something crazy serious. But yeah, just wanted to just talk about that, man. If the angels from heaven couldn't stay away, if King David, who had, a bunch of wives, or at least more than one wife. I know Solomon's the one that has 700 wives and 300 concubines. I'll get to him in a second. But David had multiple wives, and even he had to have Bathsheba, a whole nother man's wife. If Solomon, who had all the godly wisdom literally from above, the richest man, the man with the most wisdom, and he still felt the need to bow down and worship and create false gods of the wives that he had, or the concubines he had. Numerous other examples: King Ahab and Jezebel, Samson and Delilah. What's another one? There was another one that I wrote down earlier today. I can't even remember, but yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Just stay strong, brothers. And this is another thing too, for if there's any ladies watching, you know what you're wearing, you know exactly what you're doing. Do your best to try to be modest to help out men. And I know the feminists or the feminist Christians that are watching this are going to be like, oh, well, you should control yourself. It's like, sheesh. Yo, try being a man for 2 days. A man's lust is like a woman's lust for attention. Women love attention. So trying to tell a man he should just be satisfied with just his one wife or multiple wives if they're in a different type of marriage situation, it's like telling you, like, okay, you can't get attention from anybody else but your husband. Literally, you would go crazy. That's why you guys are all over the internet, posting videos of yourself and, trying to get attention, because pornography is to men as social media and regular attention, but especially social media, is to women. Pastors will shame men for, masturbating to porn behind the wife's back, or even if they're single, because it's lustful. But then they don't say anything at all about these women that are married, but then they're still posting online, always trying to get validation and attention from other people, both men and women. But anyways, that's my little thing for tonight. I'll probably do one on the way back after I get out the store. But stay strong, brothers. It's only temporary. It's only temporary. Even Paul said there's a thorn in his side that he asked God to remove, but God wouldn't. Probably to keep him humble. For all I know, it's probably girls or lust. Stay strong, brothers. Be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. You can do it. Don't be troubled.